Hello and welcome back to another week of 3PL Live Sessions. I'm Cameron Robertson, CEO of 3PL Systems, and I have Michael Sternberg, our co-host of 3PL Live Sessions, our Director of Sales of 3PL Systems. Mike, how are things going on your end, man?
Good, dude. It's been a busy week again.
It has. Seems like it always is.
but busy good, right? There's busy bad and there's busy good. We're doing a lot of things that are going to move the needle, right? As with anything in business, these things take time, but doing the work is kind of the name of the game, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have some exciting news within the company. We hired 2 new people on our technical support team. They just joined us this week, so that's pretty exciting. We're hiring more engineers as we continue to expand our organization. So that's exciting as well.
Growth is important, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So before we jump into this, we are going to be introducing Ryan Sullivan from Ratchet Ventures. Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. Excited to be here.
Excited to have you on. Ryan, tell us a little bit about your career in logistics, how you got here and what got you started and what led you to start your own consulting agency.
Yes. Well, I'm going to back it way up and there will be a little, there's a prerequisite story. So
awesome.
I, like everybody, I knew that I wanted to be in logistics tech my whole life. No, I'm kidding.
It's incredible.
I'm lying. So I finished college. I playing college soccer. I didn't know what I wanted to do except play soccer. I get recruited. I get cut from the soccer team. Devastation, just horrible. And so I bounced around. I got into some trouble. I went to 4 different colleges. And ultimately, before I finished, I got a job selling cell phones in mall kiosks. I heard that you could sell B2B. So naively, no one was doing it, but I just knocked on doors and I sold the largest deal in New York State history in the only
Let's go.
ever run a contest.
It's incredible.
Yes.
Cruise with a +1. So I'm like telling all my boys, like, who's going to come? They're all like, oh, I can't afford drinks or this, and so I asked my buddy I worked with. So we went on this cruise. And we met our wives at a bar crawl on the second day, our now wives.
Both of you.
We both have 2 children.
Same night.
Same. Yeah. Well, it was a day, but who's counting? You're on vacation. So after that, I kind of figured my why out again.
It's awesome.
Moved to Boston, re-enrolled in school, got a 4.0, and then I went and worked at Constant Contact. Selling email marketing software and really got the sales bug. It was like a googly sort of fountain soda and skee ball and dart guns kind of environment. And I did really well. And I love being
Ryan, real quick, what year was that? Just so I can put the timeline together. What year was that at Constant Contact?
2014, maybe 2015.
Okay.
So it was like 10 years ago, approximately. And, so then from there, I accidentally I led a test team with the company that ultimately acquired us, cross-selling their tools into Constant Contact's user base. So we sold for over $1 billion. And then I left by accident because I accidentally started a company like DraftKings or FanDuel for mobile games. If you're familiar with Skills, they were our only competitor and they were the fastest growing company private company in the country the year I shut it down, and failed horrifically. I did do all these things I never should have been doing, managing offshore developers, coding in Node.js, pitching for investors. Mason Plumley, you wrote me a check. I gave it back to you. I'm sure you're watching. But I just failed through this attempted, but learned so much and learned a lot about risk and kind of betting on myself. So as that was winding down, I really struggled to have companies value my startup experience, my own founder experience as anything. So like I was going for director of sales roles and it was like auto decline. So I finally, through my mentor, got introduced to Cubics and started there as their sales manager. And we had an awesome run up from 1 to 11 million over 3.5 years, two and a half years, and then sold the company to Trimble. And as like now that I'd been a founder, I'm like, I like building stuff. Like I don't want to build somebody else's stuff. So then the best decision of my life was going to Tive so I could meet my 3PL Systems guys. And had a good run there and have been focused on supply chain tech ever since.
Man, what an incredible story.
So look, I think it's no secret you know how to build out sales teams, you know how to build go-to-market motions, you know how to kind of scale all these things. And I know you kind of translate a lot of that knowledge and skill set into what you're doing today with Ratchet. But I want to unpack a little bit with you. Like if you could, and this is a tough question, but if you could say like, here's like the 3 main things that I see people struggle with their go-to-market motions. And then here's how I may correct them or help in that situation. Are there any like few items that are top of mind that you're seeing that are kind of commonalities?
Yeah. I mean, the first thing is really like, I would challenge, well, and remember, I'm focused on early stage companies. So for me, in general, it's like plus or minus a year from Series A in venture funded companies is kind of my sweet spot. I would argue that almost nobody has the amount of ICP data that they need. They may know who to focus on, but they don't understand why to focus on them. It usually comes down to like a specific use case in our commoditized supply chain tech market where there's now 4, 5, 6 vendors for everything you could want to buy at the minimum. Like, why is this customer my ICP? For example, like at Cubics, we really flailed around for a long time trying to sell to everybody. And it wasn't until we were really honest with ourselves that like, look, we suck at truckload, but it's basically an email blast functionality. But with an LTL, we're the only one with API rating. But it's not even like that. It's like, what is the value? Why does that actually matter to my end customer? And then who are the personas that care about it? So I think that is one of the biggest issues, or I would say that is the biggest issue that I see across the board. And then some of the other areas, a lot of it has to do with expectations. In the economy and market that we're in right now, there's a tremendous amount of companies that are still operating off of 2020 level of expectations. However, they have a third of the team. And if you sell to brokers or if you sell to carriers or if you sell to shippers, their volume, therefore your value decreases, with the market or increases with the market. So I think that like there's a lot of people that if they didn't do what they wanted to do over that period of time, they're stuck in a position of chasing, which leads to other problems. So now we have technical debt. Now we have a pipeline of deals that is no longer really qualified. And I see this a lot of places. And there's a reluctance to give up on them because of the pressures of where they're at against targets that were set in a completely different market. So I think just being honest with yourself and your capabilities and not modeling for best case, but modeling for a real case. Like I always say, if you're an alcoholic, you have to say you're an alcoholic before you're going to get better. If you just continue to lie to yourself in business, you're not going to fix the problems that are required to scale up.
Man, makes a lot of sense. There's a lot to unpack there. we could spend the next few hours talking about this subject.
Yeah, no, it's really good insight. And, it's funny because if you've been in sales for long enough, like both of us have, it's always back to the basics, right? Like it really is. It's like are you talking to the right people who care about the message that you're giving them and can see the value in what you're selling? If you do that, the rest of it is actually pretty easy. That part's hard though, right? That part's really, really hard.
Yep. Well, I want to add one thing actually, because as I was prepping for this and watching your guys' entire catalog, you, Mike, had a comment.
Check you out.
Did your interviewing. Homework. I'm a sales guy. I mean, what if you're gonna? I mean, you could either be the paper pusher one, or you could be the add value one. You know, so I try to be the latter. But you know, you were talking to green screens, and you were talking about it's not enough to be liked. Like this is fundamentally part of how I think about sales. And I was really fortunate to work with a VC, Venture 53, where I kind of learned this is sales to me is about transmission of value. One element of value is being liked. Like I have friends that I wouldn't want to date my daughter, but they're a good time to be around. So the value is that I have a good time when I'm with them or they make me laugh. But if we bring it back to personas, like that is not value to a tremendous portion of the planet. So what is value? Is it talking to you about how I'm calling on you, Cam, and there's not a fit for me, but I understand your priorities and I'm able to recommend something, whether or not I get anything from it. Like to me, in my world, that's a transmission of value. And, so I think like being curious and resourceful enough to understand what is important to the other person in a way that is not, well, tell me about your priorities for the next 6 months. And they're like, well, I contacted you. I'm obviously interested in a 3PL TMS. Like there's a artistic way to kind of communicate that. So like, I just think that that's very important, and how you build relationships that are based on trust. Because I don't want to hang out with everybody I trust, but I may want to buy things from them.
Yeah, one thing you just said right there is the trust piece. So a sales individual, again, I get called on every single day. I get emailed every single day, being in my role especially. The ones that are looking to actually truly help and provide value without even looking for the sale immediately are the ones that are going to actually gain my attention. And the ones that are immediately going for the kill on the hunt, it's like I automatically just don't trust you. Like you haven't built any level of trust with me. And therefore, I'm not going to listen to really anything you have to offer me because I don't know who you are. And so that's an incredible point. I know I hear Mike do it all the time because we're in the same office where he'll reach out to a new potential contact. And it's not about the sell immediately. It's more about, hey, offering information to the individual, even if it doesn't benefit us at the end of the day. And that to me is, a great transaction with a salesperson because it makes you really trust them. They actually care about what you guys are doing and being successful, not just, hey, am I going to make a sale today? So, another thing that we were talking about prior to this live call was about collaboration in our industry and the gap that exists currently within transportation. We all kind of face it. And you being in your role at Ratchet Ventures, I want to understand it from your perspective and that collaboration piece that, frankly, a lot of companies are missing, individuals are missing. But what is your take on it?
I think that not everybody can be the platform. So, like, I'm a big basketball fan. Go Seas!
Hey, nice. So, congrats on the win. Congrats on the win.
Thank you. But like, so I like to study people that are winners. So, for example, Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr played for the Bulls. I think he had 5 rings, 5 of the 6 with the Bulls. And then, what is it? 4 with the Warriors.
4 with the Warriors,
So 9 rings. So I was researching him. And Steph Curry is like, I'm not being arrogant. Everybody knows that I'm shooting 30 shots whenever I want to. And every single person, 1 through 12 on that team knows what the expectation is of them, what they need to be good at, what opportunities they're going to get, and what they need to improve to get more minutes. So I think that level of honesty with yourself within business, like, people are not going to forget about the cost to integrate, to build custom integrations. It's the opportunity cost of the time and the level of priorities that they have. So I think not everybody can be the platform. And if we understand our ICP, we understand where our target customers are, and we need to make business easy and frictionless, because there is entire businesses, Zapier, for example, that are like hundreds of millions or $1 billion business, literally just built on connecting things. So crazy. In the modern world, like, I get integrations are challenging. Like, Cubics learned a lot of lessons around integrations being challenging, but we need to meet the customers where they are. And if we know who our ICP is, we know who the vendors are that are important, and we need to prioritize that sort of on our journey to meeting the customer with the least amount of friction.
So I want to kind of pull a string off of what you were just talking about. And this is no secret. The position that we're in the freight tech landscape as a TMS provider, we are the platform. That doesn't mean that we want to be all things to all people, right? Like, we're a TMS. We're not a tracking solution. We're not a driver app because we're a broker TMS. We're not a back-end accounting platform or automation tool like, let's say, Triumph Pay or Triumph Pay Audit, right? We're not a load board. We're not a lot of things. But, and this is no secret to your point of the integrations, all of those complementary tools must live inside of the TMS, or else you're going to get damn near no traction. Because that's, to your point, that's where your customers are. Your customers are in the TMS. The TMS is the platform, right? And so the more that people understand, and most people do, this isn't like a novel idea. I'm not trying to profess some huge insight, right? But to your point, it's like, you don't actually have to be the platform. You don't actually have to be everything to everyone. You can just go where the platform is, and that's completely fine. And so, collaboration is huge. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah. Well, and I think the best, because I've been thinking about this recently, the best example I can think of this is Salesforce. So Salesforce integrates with SalesLoft and Outreach.io, being the two market leaders for sales automation. Salesforce could easily build something similar to that. It's amazing. They were both unicorns at one point. Salesforce could easily build that. But like, are they the best platform if they're investing all of these resources in a feature? So like, that level of focus to me is really important, assuming you're going to do the collaboration. I mean, the other side of it is you stonewall off potential partners and you're trying to get customers to conform to you, which can work if you have the best mousetrap. But if you don't have the best mousetrap in all of those areas, you need to find ways to play well with others.
Yes, something you just said, Ryan, that I want to touch on, that I talked to Mike about this a lot, and we've talked about it in past shows of ours, is, not trying to build everything in-house. Like you just used that example of Salesforce. There's a reason these large companies don't build everything, because they want to be really, really good at what they do. And that's kind of our focus. And as a, developer and having very technical background, if I'm looking at a piece of software and I see they're trying to do everything for everyone, I'm not choosing that platform, because I know they're going to be mediocre at everything. They're not going to be great at everything. It's not possible unless we're looking at the Googles and Microsofts of the world, and there's not many of them out there. So when I see smaller tech companies, the $100 million or less tech companies that are trying to do everything and be everything and build everything, eventually that's going to fail. Eventually that's not scalable. because you're not going to have the amount of resources and teams in order to build that. And so back to the point of collaboration, that's how I personally view it, is collaboration with competitors or partners or whomever is extremely fundamental to all of our businesses, because there's a lot of great companies out there that are very good at what they do. And if we integrate those platforms, you build a, extremely powerful system by utilizing those integrations. So,
and it can be an ego thing. It's like, fortunately, Cam, you're a humble guy, and you could say that. But if you get into the measuring competition of, well, could I build this? Like, of course you could build it if that's what you were focused on. Yeah, so it's like, but I think to me it's, and I've been a part of both. I've been a part of customer-centric growth, product growth, and I've been a part of strategic product growth. And in both companies, we're highly successful. However, if you're going to build the customer's needs, and now we're not even talking about sales, we're talking about product management, but
that's part of it.
there's no ratchet product is not available yet. We're trying to stay focused, but if you have a real vision and roadmap as to what you want to build, then it's easy to sell to what your customers want. Right. If you don't have that ironed out, you're gonna get yourself all messed up. And so that's sort of the difference the great product management companies are great enablers of sales to sell transparently with the talk track of, hey, we want to build this. We have this slated for next year. If you want to buy it, we're willing to build it to your, with your feedback and specifications, because if it works for you, it works for everybody. But if I don't know what you're building next year and you tell me to sell whatever, which I'm not advocating for, you're not going to end up with a product that works very well. And neither is the customer.
I call it a Frankenstein system, right? Because then you're just like, well, chasing this and chasing that and building this and building that. There's no unified vision. And then you just have a bunch of crap that's all lumped together. And it's like, what the hell is this thing, right? So, but so let's transition a little bit here, Ryan. So obviously, look, you've got all the knowledge in the world about how this stuff works, go to market motions and sales and, product and all these kinds of things. And you've made the decision recently to branch out on your own and become a consultant and start your own thing at Ratchet. What are the pros and cons of that? Because this has got to be a lot different than you being an employee at a startup, right? This is way different. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it is at the highest level as the head of sales, like the pressure, the pipeline, the forecasting, the time management. That's all. Like, so I thought it was going to be totally linear. I think we all, when we think about ourselves in our head, sometimes we don't give people that support us enough credit. Like I've seen some AI posts some guy wrote, and then everyone's been copying it about like sales guys saying we win versus I won. And like, well, I hate those posts that, are AI. Like I do identify with that because I think of myself as a credit giver, but in my head, when I was thinking about doing this, I wasn't really given. I was like, I could do it. I'll figure it out, and I have, and I will. It doesn't make it easy. I'll start with the cons. It's a lot to like do all the work and be the salesperson and to do the stuff that I already know that I hate doing from my founder experience in a tech company. Like, I don't want to be invoicing people. I don't want to be working on websites. I don't want to be, micromanaging hours like a timesheet. Like, those are things that I'm really not interested in doing, but they're part of my business and they have to get done. And it's just me. So until I reach a point of growth that I can have somebody help me with that, it's just me. I think some of the other cons are like, it is lonely, it's disrespect at all to anybody that works with me. But when I buy I just got a Tesla. Like,
nice.
I want to get as much for what I paid. I want it to do as much as it can do. And like, you know, I don't want my self-driving trial to only run for a month, you know? So navigating that, it's isolated. And there are differences by customers, truthfully. There's people that I feel like I'm on the team with, and there's people that it's a more traditional vendor-customer relationship. So that's been like just a kind of challenging thing to understand. And the last con, I would say, is regardless of how strategic the project is set up to be, the reality is everybody wants a pipeline in the world that we're in right now. So I'll sign up for deals that sound like they're strategic. I'll make progress. I'll document it well. There will be deliverables. And then at the end of a month, it's like, well, where's all your friends? Where's all the pipeline? And it's like, so like I am hiring right now for everybody because this is just going to become part of my service offering, because I understand that it's a huge gap in the market. I understand wanting to feel like you can see immediate progress, and, you know, managing multiple customers. Like, I can't call all of the shippers I have good relationships with for every single customer, because I want to transmit value, and I don't want to be a snake oil salesman trying to shove a square peg into a round hole when we haven't figured out product market fit yet. So those are the cons. The pros. So I have 2 young kids, 1.5 and 3.5. I struggle with work-life balance. I'm like, when I take a job with a company, it consumes the majority of thoughts in my head. It becomes my hobby as well as my job. And, you know, I work at companies where you get equity. Like, I really feel like an owner, to the point that I do old school stuff. Like, I'm flying off business hours. You know, I have to travel a lot. So I missed a lot of stuff with my 3.5-year-old. I missed first steps. I missed first words. There was a lot of FaceTiming that went into it. And I've really sort of redefined my why and where I get fulfillment professionally, which had been the primary source of my fulfillment, and had to reshape kind of what's important to me as my circumstances have changed with marriage and with children. I think the other pros are flexibility. So like I was telling Cam, I used to think work-life balance was an indication of laziness, but I was naive to what's important in life. I had gotten my life on track through being super professionally focused, and I just craved that promotion or recognition, or not even the commission check. I just always thought if I was getting promotions or recognition, the money would sort of work out for itself. But like now I can spend half the day prospecting, doing customer calls, and I'm a night owl anyway. So 10 PM to 2 AM, I can be up executing the work that I deliver. And lastly, it's just like, there is pressure. Like salespeople, if you're interested in doing this and you don't like pipeline and forecasting, and you feel that is an annoyance or a distraction to you, just don't do this, because you have to manage, if you're living based on this, you have to manage your cash flow. So I think what I like about it is it can be as big or as small as I want it to be. I'm not signing up for give us 10x ARR this year because we just raised a gazillion. I have that pressure within my customers, but I'm an enabler of that. I'm not the executor of that. So I think that the pro to me is, do I want to make $1 million a year? Do I want to make $100,000 a year? Like I can decide what that looks like. And other than my family, who I had to have good alignment with, truthfully, to do this, those are the only stakeholders other than my customers and prospects, obviously, that matter in this process. There's not expectations set by someone else that I have to live up to, whether or not I agree with them.
Man, good for you.
Yeah, honestly, it's incredible.
We've known you for a while now, and listening to you talk and just hearing you, it sounds like you've gone through this process of not that you were immature before, but really maturing in your perspectives on life and figuring out what's important to you and being able to kind of decide that for yourself. Man, like sincerely, like friend to friend, congrats, dude. This sounds like really good for you, man. Awesome.
Well, thank you. But you said it before the call. You only know what you know. Like, so my experience was sucks at school, gets in trouble, top performing individual contributor, founder that knows nothing, but will work like a dog to figure it out. So like, I struggle to actualize things in my head that I haven't experienced or seen someone experience. So like, it's fortunately, I mean, thanks to my wife, she's much better looking. She takes care of all the stuff I hate to do and gave me great kids that, taught me a lot about what's important.
Yeah. Well, Ryan, same words that Michael just shared. I mean, we're very excited for you in this new venture that you started. And again, we've known you for years now, and seeing your growth on this path has just been absolutely incredible. And we're excited to see what you end up doing with it. And we appreciate you coming on the show today. Thank you.
Yeah, real quick before we let you go, man, how do people find you? We got to give you a little ad shout out. So go ahead, take advantage.
Sure. So ratchetventures.com, LinkedIn. I'm easy to find. I try to be as many places as I can. And, for me, the focus is really, helping founders to scale up. We see so many times in this industry, founder's the best salesperson, sales team continues to turn over. My goal is really to help boil down what's great about the founders and build it into a strategic process that's an enabler of letting people like a younger version of myself be successful without having all that information. So thrilled to be on the show. So thankful for you guys, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ryan. Thanks, appreciate you, man.
Have a good weekend, man.
Let's go.
Awesome. Wow. What an incredible story, man. We've known him for years now, and just to see how that all unfolded for him from start to finish, and, learning some new things about Ryan and how he got his roots in the industry and what he went through. And it's really interesting to always hear, like, a lot of people or a lot of leaders were not the A students in business. That's not just transportation. That's in business across the board. It's like a known fact. And you're seeing that unfold for Ryan. He's just turning himself into this incredible business and smart man. So it's awesome to see. Got anything going on this weekend, Mike?
Yeah, I'm going camping. Point Magoo.
Camping.
Yeah, Point Magoo in Malibu.
It's gonna be awesome.
So we're going tomorrow. We actually have the campsite today. I don't know why Christina. I was like, dude, I got to work.
Drive to Malibu on a Friday.
I work on Friday, dude. Like, what do you mean? So she's like, can we drive out at 4 or 5? I said, absolutely not. Like, we can't. So we're going in the morning. We're going in the morning at 6 a.m. A couple family friends and their kids. So it should be like 6 adults and 6 kids out there.
Wow. It's going to be awesome, man.
Yeah, it should be cool. What do you have going on?
Watching the kids. Wife's going to some wedding she was invited to. So I'll be taking care of the children. And so, I don't know, maybe spoil them. Take them get ice cream, take them to the mall. I don't know.
Do it. Take advantage, man. Take advantage of that time. I bet you know that very well. So, well, cool, man. Let's let everybody go. I don't think we have a guest scheduled for next week, but we'll find someone. We've got plenty of people that we can talk to that would want to come on. So, yeah, let's let everyone go. Have a good weekend. We appreciate it, and we'll see y'all next week. Yeah.
See you guys next week. Thank you, guys.